So I made just around $6,000 today trading NZD USD, and this trade was sent out in my private Discord server. To get access to this server, you have to enroll into my private course. The link is down in the description. But don't worry, I'm going to break down the entire trade so you can learn what I looked for in this trade. This strategy is very easy, and if you watch till the end, I promise you, you're going to get funded in the next 3 months or 2 months after you start practicing this strategy and apply it to live markets. So without wasting any more time, let's get on with the video. All right, so before showing you the actual trade, I want to teach you the strategy that I used for this trade, right? So you have to watch very carefully. And one last thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button because we are very close to 100k subscribers. And once I hit 100k subscribers, I'm going to upload a model that I have never revealed publicly for absolutely free on this YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and wait till we hit 100k. So the very first step of the strategy is that you have to mark out the previous daily low and previous daily high, right? So I have marked out the daily low and the daily high. Now on the next day, right, you are waiting for price to either take out the daily low or the daily high. Now let's assume that price has taken out the daily low. Now once that happens, you are dropping down to 1 hour time frame. All right, so remember that this is very important. You are dropping down to 1 hour time frame. So let's assume that this right here is a 1 hour time frame, right? And this low was the daily low. This low over here is this low, right? So on the 1 hour time frame, right, once the daily low was taken, you have to mark out the internal range liquidity. So what we are doing here in this strategy is that we are combining external and internal range liquidity method with daily high and daily low method. I hope that makes sense. So you can see that the daily low was taken out. So now you have to mark out a fair value gap inside this leg, right? So if there's a fair value gap in the premium, that is going to be your draw on liquidity. That is going to be the target for the price to go into. So now once you have marked out the 1 hour fair value gap, right, you have to drop down to 5-minute or 15-minute time frame. I highly suggest you stick to 15-minute time frame because that time frame is the best for this strategy. And the trade that I took was also on the 15-minute time frame. So we took out the daily low, we dropped down to 1 hour time frame to identify the internal range liquidity on the 1 hour time frame. Now afterwards, what we are looking for is simply a market structure shift on the 15-minute time frame. So you're going to get the market structure shift on the 15-minute time frame. Now, unless you are trading, the AUD and JPY pairs, you have to trade these during London and New York session. This is very important. You cannot take your entry, before London kill zone or New York kill zone, unless you're trading the JPY or AUD pairs. So once you get the market structure shift, all you have to do is take your entry from the extreme FVG, or you can take your entry from the auto block, right? All you have to do is then go for 1 to 2 regardless of our target, right? So we have the target here, but sometimes price will not go exactly towards this fair value gap, but it will give you more than 1 to 2 risk reward. So all we have to do to stay on the safe side, and for our psychology, we have to go for 1 to 2 as always. That is my rule. If you are my old subscribers, you would know that I always go for 1 to 2 regardless of my draw on liquidity. Now, a very key thing, this is the secret sauce, all right? If you can do this, you will literally have above 70% win rate with this model. You have to identify smart money divergence, or SMT, or smart money tool. There are 2 different names for this, but what essentially is smart SMT is on the NZD. Let's suppose that we got a lower low, lower high, lower low, but on the AUD USD, we failed to create a lower low, right? Now that is your SMT divergence, right? We had another low created on NZD USD, but on AUD USD, we failed to create another low. So that is simply, SMT, and that shows strength, right? So once you see SMT, that is like extra confluence, extra confirmation that we're going to go towards this fair value gap. And that's what exactly happened in today's trade. And I'm going to break down the entire trade for you. And similarly, you would do the same, vice versa if you're looking for short positions. So now that we have known the strategy, I'm going to break down the trade that we took today. All right, so as you can see, I'm on NZD USD on the daily time frame, and over here you can see that if I mark out the previous daily high and the daily low, you can see that we took out the daily low. So now if I drop down to 1 hour time frame, you're going to see that this was the daily low, and we took out the daily low right here. So now what we had to do was mark out the internal range liquidity, which is basically a fair value gap, right, in this leg. So we had this fair value gap over here. You could have also marked this, but I always go for the safest target, right, just to be on the safe side. A lot of people say that price will go into the premium, but sometimes it will not. All right, so this is like your safest bet that you can just target this fair value gap. So now once I had marked out the fair value gap and the daily low was taken out, I simply drop down to 15-minute time frame. So if I go to the 15-minute time frame here, you can clearly see that we got a market structure shift over here, and we got a fair value gap also over here. So that was my entry. So if I go to the executions and I turn on the executions right here, you can see that this was from where I longed, and this is where I took my profit at 1 to 2. I could have held till this internal range liquidity, but as I said before, I always go for 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. So now let me show you the SMT divergence that I look for in the AUD USD. So if I just go here and I zoom out a bit, you can see that over here on NZD USD, we failed to take out this low, right? This low here. But if I just mark out this low over here, you can see that on AUD USD, we took out this low. So that was an extra confirmation for me that we are not going to go towards this fair value gap. So that was the entire trade, guys. I really hope you guys learned something from this. This is a very powerful model, and I hope you guys practice, and make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys. We are really close to 100K, and I want to get that a silver play button, right? It's one of my dreams. So yeah, if you can do it, please do it, because I'm giving away free value, right? So